Two lifelong Houston sports guys named Adam, talking your teams.
World Series!
Adam Clanton and Adam Wexler are the A-Team.
All right, it's straight up 3 o'clock. It's Sports Talk 790. It's Space City Home Network. It is the A-Team. Wex over there, AC right here. Cole Thompson is our producer. And as promised, we are joined in studio by the general manager of your Houston Rockets. I just like to call you the man that brought Kevin Durant to town. And that's got to be, that's got to feel good, even at this juncture in his career, to know that that guy's going to lace him up every single night for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited about having Kevin join the family and be around and hopefully add to something that you know, we think last year was kind of a really good start to building something really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody's probably already asked you this question a million times, but when you bring a player of that caliber to town and you not only, I mean, getting that guy in the house, but then incorporating him into what you've already built, because you've built this. That's the cool part about what the Rockets, I think, are going to do this year. It's all homegrown, built from the ground up, you know, draft, all that kind of stuff. But it's like, how did it all come together has got to be the question you've asked or been asked a million times. How do you get Kevin Durant to Houston, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you build a team, right? Like I think, you know, he wanted to be a part of what we're doing here, which means he saw something cool in us. And I think, yeah, like you said, we built it. Like, and I don't want to say I built it. Like we built it. Like, not even just, you know, not just me, not just the Fertittas, not just the front office, not just the coaches, you know, the players, like everybody's a part of building it. You know, everybody who's still here, everybody honestly who passed through, everybody built it, you know, collectively. And like I said, last year, I think people could kind of see what we were trying to build and where we're trying to go. But, you know, but everybody's, you know, the job's not done, right? And so we have to keep building this year.
Is it pretty obvious to you that last line you said is shared by everybody in the organization, the guys on the court, the coaching staff, the whole team and everything? The job's not done?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll be extraordinarily disappointed if anybody thinks we've won anything, because we haven't, you know, like, and the goal isn't to win a playoff series or win 2 or win 3. The goal is to win a championship. So, you know, unless you're sitting there with the trophy, then you haven't won anything. And you know, and it's on us. You know, we got to do it.
There's a lot of different individual players we obviously can discuss about how they've grown in their careers here with Houston, many of whom have only been here in Houston. It seems only right with his current activity. If we began with Alperen Sengun, who consistently is doing things and playing right now at Eurobasket, you know, how do you approach watching him work in the offseason? And I know a lot of players and coaches, again, this offseason, have been around him, both there and here, the progress that he's making and the fact that he's on the court and looking like he's ready to take another step.
Yeah, I mean, he's really young. I mean, all our guys are. You know, he's actually one of our older young guys, but he's still very young, and he needs to be improving. He needs to improve a lot from last year to this year. He owns that more than anyone, and keep improving for the foreseeable future. You know, he's not a 31-year-old established vet trying to stay at his peak. He's just turned 23, and he needs to be getting better. And there's such obvious areas for growth. And one thing we do, we have people, we guys we draft, guys we trade for, that the backgrounds are super disparate, and we're not honing in on any one thing. But one thing that if there's one thing that I care about the most, or that we collectively care about the most, it's that you really love basketball, and that the driver isn't fame, wealth, whatever. It's the game. And for sure, Alperen loves the game of basketball and wants to be as good as he possibly can be.
How long did it take you to get Thompson to love basketball?
Yeah, no, it turns out I didn't get anyone to love basketball.
These guys have it.
They have it, and we're only interested in guys who have it. You know, and if you and the game brings a lot with it, like. Even at young ages, the game brings a lot with it. So there's all this extracurricular stuff that comes with the game of basketball that one can love and not really love the game of basketball. And to me, one of the ways you can tell is like, is do you play winning basketball? Do you make winning plays? And Amen's a great example of somebody who is extraordinarily driven to win every game.
Is it weird when I tell you that I'm more excited about him than even Kevin Durant or even Alperen Sengun on this season's Houston Rockets team, just because you always talk about the guys taking the next step? And you and I have had conversations about him off the air. You know about my affinity for him. It's kind of uncomfortable at times. But I'm obsessed with the freak that guy is. He's a gym rat. We've talked about that. And I just feel like the ceiling is just insanely high for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, like last year, a big part of our success was he'd gotten comfortable his rookie year and he took a step. The same thing applies for this year. If he doesn't get better, we won't get it. We won't be the team we want to be. And that's irrespective of KD, of Fred, of Clint, of Steven, of whoever. We need these young guys. We need Amen. We need Alperen. We need Jabari, Tari, Reed. We need all of these guys to stack days, get better every day. And they've had individually and collectively, they've had a very good summer. And now we need to translate it.
We are talking to Rockets GM Rafael Stone, obviously in studio, and so I can look you in the eye when I ask you this question. You had to part ways with Jalen Green to get Kevin Durant. As a guy who drafted Jalen Green, how hard was that? How hard was that conversation having with him? Everything, because he was here, it's all he knew. And then, what was your reaction in the second part of the question to his kind of parting goodbyes statement to the Houston Rockets and what Houston meant to him?
Drafting Jalen is that's nothing. That's my job. Working with him, getting to know him, and just the quality human being that he is. That's what makes it tough, right? It's not the proprietary. I didn't do anything of substance there. But when I think we're all human, and NBA teams live together, right? You see each other way more than you see your family. And so when you're with somebody like that for 4 years, and they're a quality human being who is trying to do the right thing every day, and you can see him growing up too. That's always really kind of cool. It's never easy. The flip side is it's part of the business, and because he had grown up, I think he was at a point in his career and his life where he was ready for it. In terms of his parting words, they were heartfelt and kind of what I would expect, because I know how much his teammates and everybody in our offices meant to him. I know how much the city meant to him, and I just know what a quality guy he is. And that perspective he shared, I thought was very cool. I always end up, like, when this subject comes up, we always end up talking about Jalen, or I always do. I also want to say it all applies to Dylan too.
Yeah.
And those guys, I loved the last couple of years. I've just really enjoyed the basketball team that we've put on the court. Not just last year, even the year before. The effort level given day in and day out was something that I just personally took a ton of enjoyment in. And those are the two guys who played the most minutes on those teams. And for both of that, like, super hard. The flip side is, again, same thing. They're both in really good places. They're both making great livings. They're in a place to take care of themselves and their families forever. And this is a new opportunity for them. And so that's kind of the refrain I give myself, right? That makes it all doable. It's not easy, but doable. And then I am very excited to add kind of these new guys. Obviously, I knew Clint from prior times, and he's a great human being. I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know Dorian and Kevin, and I'm just super excited to see what the season brings with those guys.
Well, the reacquisition of Clint Capela, I think is an interesting one. I was there in Vegas. Mikhail's coaching the team. They're out there. He's there. He wasn't coaching the actual summer league team, but he was the coach of the team, and Clint's there. And, I don't think everybody was sure where his rookie season would be. Would it be here? Would it be there? He made it clear it would be here. And there he was, and wanted to play, and was immediately a part of the Rockets' future, and grew as an NBA player here and then elsewhere. He's back here in a group of Alperen and Steven and now Clint. It's about as formidable a group as you have. If you could just comment on bringing Clint back and who he is now as an NBA player, and what you kind of view what you might be able to throw at teams from the top level of the front court.
Yeah, going into free agency, we did not think Clint was going to be available. We just thought we wouldn't have enough. We kind of had a finite amount of money left, and we thought he was, still think he is a better player than that amount of money. Kind of similar to how the team has to prove it. He has to prove it. Every year you got to prove yourself anew. But I think he missed Houston, the city. I think he wanted to be part of a team that he perceived as having a real chance to win. And so a lot of things fell into place. And so we were able to have kind of quick conversations at the start of free agency. And I don't know, like, I think Ime and I spoke to him, like, we had a meeting set up, I don't know, an hour in or something. And I was like, I think we might get Clint. Like, I was very excited about it. And precisely because I do think we like depth. We like lineup flexibility. We had a ton of success last year playing Alperen at the 4. We like Jabari. Obviously, can play 4, 5, some 3. We like playing him in all those spots. And so just I do think depth sometimes can be underrated, and so it was important to be deep. But then also just I do know, you know, it's nice when you know people and you know the quality of person you're getting, and that weighed in on us too. We wanted somebody who doesn't, you know, is willing to do the dirty work, wants to win basketball games, isn't worried about all the rest of the stuff.
You had mentioned Jalen growing up as a Rocket. Well, Clint grew up as a Rocket. He learned how to drive as a Rocket. Rockets All Access here on Space City Home Network. If you missed that episode a few years ago, he did learn how to drive a car here in Houston as a very young Rocket. Lots more to get to with Rafael Stone, Rockets general manager, other individuals on the team, how the team views the rest of the Western Conference with all their changes as well, all part of our conversation, which will continue right here on the A-Team.
The A-Team on Sports Talk 790. We now return to Adam Clanton and Adam Wexler on Sports Talk 790.
All right, back at it here on the A-Team, Sports Talk 790, Space City Home Network. It is the A-Team on a Tuesday edition of the program. Wex AC and Rockets GM Rafael Stone in studio. We talked about a lot of the players, and you mentioned them, and Wex obviously mentioned them, that have, it's quite the, for a team that's bringing back so much of its core, it does seem like quite the facelift when you bring in a guy like Kevin Durant. And you're right, he is getting most of the attention, but Dorian Finney-Smith, I feel like this could be like a dark horse candidate for one of those moves that's like sneaky, where people are like, man, Raphael really kicked ass with that move by the end of the season and beyond. How excited are you about adding him to the mix, especially because a guy like Dillon departed defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm very excited about Dorian. He's been around a ton. Obviously, like, great guy, great teammate, like just a really good addition to the room. And obviously a very good player, can really shoot the ball, and defensively, one of the thing I kind of admired about him for years and years and years was his ability to communicate defensively. It's fantastic, and I think it really elevates not just his own play, but the play of his teammates. And so I do think, again, going to Dillon, I think there's a lot about Dillon that we will miss. And so I, hopefully Dorian's really able to add his own element to us.
Well, congrats to Dorian and his new wife, recently married, as he joins the Rockets for the next several seasons. One of the other players that's back, and a lot has been made about the progress that he made over the course of his early season, and then what is expected in his future with Reed Sheppard, and how he might be utilized if he earns his way onto the court and earns his way into the rotation. What is the coaching staff, what does your staff think about what Reed Sheppard's shown that he can do and what there might be in his future?
Yeah, I think, coaches, players, front office, I think we all say the same stuff. Reed's really talented. He just has to translate it to games, find his kind of niche and his confidence, and then just let it go. I think he will. I think he puts in the work, and he's gonna get really good opportunities. So I think he's gonna have a very successful season for us.
What would that look like in your mind? Like a successful season? Is that hard to pinpoint?
Yeah,
he's just part of a team that's winning games.
Exactly. Like he's an important part of a team winning a bunch of games, and whether his impact is on one night it's offense, on another night it's defense, it's transition. Like who cares, right? Like, but what you want him to do is you want to add the unique talents he has to the greater whole, and he's not. I mean, Reed's not he's not a singular player. He like there's a lot of stuff that he does well, and so we want him to be able to show his whole game.
Super rhetorical. It had to be so important to bring back a guy like Steven Adams. Obviously, we all know that, but were you even surprised at just how effective he was when he finally was able to get back on the floor last year? And the double bigs lineup, everybody talked about that and how successful you guys were on both ends of the floor with what he brings.
Yeah, no, I mean, we traded for Steven because we thought he would get healthy, and he did. And then when he's healthy, that's the player he's always been. So I think with respect to Steven, no, not surprised. If anything, maybe I thought he'd be healthy a little bit earlier. So it was good, and we could see the signs pretty quickly that he was ramping up, and it's like, oh, he's going to be fine. And he was great. And then in terms of the double big, that did surprise me. I don't, if it didn't, then it would be shame on me for not starting it, but not doing it at the beginning of the season. But good basketball players can play with good basketball players, and I do think Steven's a very high IQ player. Alperen is too, and they played really, really well together.
Is it possible for this group to actually somehow be better defensively this year than it was last year?
No, I mean, our goal is definitely to be better defensively than last year. Like, and we'll be bigger, I think, overall. We should, I certainly hope we're better defensively. Like, the goal is to be better at everything. Like,
right.
we weren't a good enough team next year. So we need to be better offensively, defensively. We need to be a better rebounding team. All of it.
You were able to get an extension done last offseason with the players lined up for it, both Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun. This offseason, the players, Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason, got it done with Jabari Smith Jr. Are there hopes with you and even with whatever has taken place from a negotiation standpoint from his side or Eason's side that it is something you'd like to get done before the season, something you're working on currently?
I love Tari Eason, full stop. I also don't talk about negotiations with our players.
When you're able to get players that would like to be here, and presumably on the outside, externally, I think a lot of people look at what all four of those players I mentioned have done in the seasons preceding potential extensions. Everybody likes what they've seen. They like what they bring to the table. They're clearly part of what is why the Rockets are who they are. Clearly Tari is that, and clearly Jabari was that. And in advance of that, Jabari specifically, you already brought him up, plays the 5, plays the floor, plays the 3, whatever group's out there, he seems like he will fit in with them and seems pretty intent on and very hard on himself for the things he thinks should be more a part of his game, thinks he should already be better at. And all indications are he's ready to be, I'm not going to say a different player, but a better player at all the things as to why you brought him back and gave him an extension. Do you see the same thing in him?
Yeah, Jabari's a driven guy. And this was actually something that you don't know. When you draft guys, you have no idea what they're going to be like. But I was really impressed his rookie season because it was a really challenging season, not just for him, but for the team. And the thing I loved about him that I discovered as a rookie was he just doesn't make excuses. He just takes it on the chin. And it's actually unusual, not just in sports or in the NBA. It's unusual in life, right? How many of us make a bad play and don't look around?
If something goes wrong here, I know who's to blame. It's not on me.
For sure on you, right? Like, definitely.
Our listeners know.
It's my cross to bear.
And so, yeah, it really says it's a character strength for Jabari. It's a really cool thing. He's been like that since we got him. He came to us with that. It's not something we instilled in him, but I'm very fond of it. I admire it. And so, I think it's going to really help him become the player that we want him to become and he wants to become. Because, when it doesn't go the way he wants, he's very hard on himself and he's very self-critical. but by being that way, he's able to actually address the issue. He's not looking around for why didn't you do this or why, he's like, I got to figure out a way to be better. And he has gotten better every year. He keeps, like, you can see it. And again, this is a life thing. It's not an NBA or a sports thing, but we notice when people improve, like at a finite moment in time. That improvement almost never happened at that finite moment in time, right? So what happens is you steadily get better day after day after day for days and months and years, right? And then people take notice at some random point. And it's, and the people who are really successful embrace the grind, and they don't need people externally saying, "Oh, you gotten so much better." They're driven to get better themselves, and I do think that's the type of person Jabari is.
Seems like all the individual other players we've brought up and talked about all share the same thing, and most of them have said it at some point this offseason since the acquisition of KD. Their excitement level to get on the court with him, to be his teammate, to play basketball with him. I'm sure you don't have to sense it. You've heard it from them. Where do you think the excitement level is, and how much can that play into how well this team plays together, that they're fired up that they're practicing with him. He's on their team. They're going to go forward with him.
Yeah, I mean, players are human too, and I think everybody's always excited at the beginning of the season, but you're particularly excited if you think you have a chance potentially to do something special. And I think I think everyone on our team is excited about this year, thinking that the group as a whole has a chance to do something special. And again, nothing's being handed to us. It's not like we're going to walk out there and be the team we want to be. We're going to have to start at the bottom, grind our way through every win. We're going to have to be, I thought we were the toughest, hardest playing team in basketball last year. In order to be successful, we're going to have to be that again. And but I think guys are looking forward to that challenge.
So, personal bias again, but could you have hit a bigger home run hiring Ime Udoka as your head coach? And how much of him being, in charge of things from a coaching standpoint here in Houston was kind of, I don't want to call it a recruiting tool to getting Kevin Durant, but he's listing off, all right, here's the places I will go. How much of that was a factor for him choosing Houston as a team that he would want to go to?
Oh, you definitely have to ask Kevin that. Like, I'm not gonna speak for him, but in terms of Ime, I think he's been awesome. He's just been a perfect cultural fit with me and with Tillman and Patrick and the Fertitta family and the rest of our front office. He's a great partner. The way we see basketball is. I mean, you're never perfectly aligned on that, but it's about as close as you probably are likely to ever get between a coach and a GM, which makes kind of the commonality of goals really easy. And he's just a good dude. Like, again, we spend a lot of time together, and you have to enjoy people. Otherwise, life's just miserable. And I thoroughly enjoy Ime, and I spend way more time with him than most probably would think is smart or appropriate. But whatever, that's my dude. So
you all go bowling together or what?
We literally play pickleball together like every day. We're like, last night we were like limping off a court together in our free time. So we spent. I love him. He's great.
All right. Well, Raphael, you've been great. We appreciate you taking the time out. We are obviously looking forward to the season as much as you guys are. Can't wait to get back on the floor and see what this group has to put together. And we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. Raphael Stone, Rockets GM here on Sports Talk 790 and Space City Home Network. We will continue after the break.
The A-Team on Sports Talk 790.